Door Boundary Game Series. Not all homes are lucky enough to have a hallway or a porch.
Good job. Nice, nice. Good girl. Because he is. Because he. Oh, is that? Because he. Because he then. Because he. Is that?
So it can be super daunting on how to work with your dogs and the door.
Is that? Because he. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, good girl. Very good. Yeah. Yeah. Ta-da.
Even with a gate, there are times when a gate can't be used, such as entering and exiting the home.
Job. Is that? Is that? Because he. Yeah. Yeah, good girl. Very good. Because he's that.
Last year, awful videos circulated of dogs having their heads bashed indoors. Absolutely vile.
They're playing. They're playing. They're playing. Because he nice. Who's that? Because he. Yeah. Yeah, good job.
Instead, work with your dog. Make it a fun game.
Because he is. Because he then. Hello, because he. Because he then. Hello. You look. Who's that? Come look. Who's that? Oh, good job. He's so clever. You're so clever. Good girl. Because he.
I'm off camera, sat on the sofa, and each time they move towards the boundary of the door frame, I've a barbeque here.
Good job. Is that fun? Did you like that game? See? Did you like that? Good girl. He killed Jamie. Yeah. Jamie. Good boy. Jamie. Good boy. Good job. Good job.
Each time they come to me, they are given a food reward.
Because he. Because he. It's okay, because he. Because he nice. Because he. Yeah. Nice. Good boy. He's such a good boy. Nice. Good boy. Thank you. Because he. Yeah. Yeah.
This is super simple. Anyone can do it, and all you need is 2 humans.
Yeah. Yeah. Good job. Good job. Good boy. Nice. Good boy. Because he. Yeah.
If you're worried your dog can't remain within the boundary, and may door bolt, utilize a long line and keep it slack.
Yeah. Oh, good boy. He's a good boy. Good job. Good boy. Nice. Nice.
Each time your dog remains at the boundary and keeps recalling, add a little duration each time.
Good boy. Good boy. Good boy.
Big sticky man. Nothing.
Oh, no, it's not that.
This was actually a 20-minute video in real time.
Is that? Because he. Oh, good boy. He's all nice. Good job. Good boy. Good
So
job.
sessions don't have to be long, but you do have to practice.
Yeah. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Good job. Anyone say?
Allow them to observe the outside world as added distractions, but ensure you're at a level where this is safe to do so.
Good boy. Is that fun? Did you like that game? Did you like that game? Isn't it?
If you're not ready, use the long line.
Yeah. Good boy. Very good. Good boy. Yes, you're a good boy. Let's do this. Here. Here.
Don't ever believe you have to use harmful or abusive practices to work with your dog, no matter the scenario.
Here. Here. Ah, good boy. Good job. Good see. Good see. Here. Here. Ah, good boy. Very good. Very good boy. You see this? Yeah. Yeah, good job. Very good. Yeah, good boy. You can see. You can see. Easy.
There's a force-free way to work with any behavior, breed, age, and need.
Here. Oh, good boy. Good job. You can see. Oh, good boy. Very good. Very good boy. You can see.
Remember to take your time, safety first, and practice regularly.
Here. Ah, clever boy. Really clever. You can see. Let's see. Oh, good boy. Very good. Good boy. I need to clever. He's a clever. I know, yeah. You can see. You can see. Good boy. He's a clever. Really good boy.
Door Boundary Game Series Part 2. Decide between yourselves who is the most exciting human at the door. The most exciting or incorrigible human is going to now be outside. They are going to click and treat the dog for remaining indoors. I let the dogs observe the environment, and when they look at me, I click and treat. If they cross the threshold, I simply queue back up and click and treat. I do not withhold a reward for the separate queue. I pay for each behavior that I'm asking of them. People walking on the street, entering or leaving their driveways, going to cars and dog walkers can be a huge distraction. So if you're worried or not comfortable, use the long line. The long line is your best friend and safety first. Heavily treat for distractions and let them know they are doing a good job. If they go over threshold in that they are too excited or frustrated, then finish on a good note. For example, use a treat bomb to bring them back in the home whilst you come back in and close the door.
Good job. Nice boy.
Give lots of praise at the end of a session to keep it fun and your dog's conditioned to good things happening on the threshold.
Good job. Good boy. Good boy. Yes, good boy. Nice. Yes. Boy.
Don't push or nag them into sitting or lying down. We want a natural body language and mental state from the dog for this to be effective.
Good boy. Good. Nice. Good job. Good. Good job. Good boy. Good boy.
Sits and downs or obedience in general is not a mechanic the dog cares about. Keeping the session relaxed means your dog is more comfortable and less likely to see a trigger as a release cue.
Good boy. Very good. Nice. Boy. Boy.
Dogs have their own agendas. Humans like to think they control dogs, but they don't. The dog is always in control and all we can do is work with their instincts.
Good boy.
Attempting to suppress their natural instincts is setting you both up to fail.
Good job. Oh, very good. Good boy. Nice. Good job. Very good. It is fun. It is fun. Is it? What is it? Oh, dear. You want to put on?
Boundary Door Game Series Part 3. When practicing, it's really important to swap humans and also do this at different times. This adds in further distractions. different distractions, smells, and unpredictability.
You sit. You sit.
We call this proofing. It's no good having a training session and not practicing, or practicing at the same time with the same variables. There has to be variables for you to confidently say, my dog can do X behavior.
Yeah. You sit. Sit down.
Too often humans have a one-to-one or attend a class for a few weeks and think that's it. The responsibility and fault lies with the human and not the dog. Instinct drives behavior. With our videos or YouTube, you will see repetitive behaviors. This isn't just for teaching purposes, this also helps my dogs. "7 years of videos," which for dog trainers and behaviorists translates as 7 years of accountability. Training doesn't stop, not after a one-to-one or classes. Training is as much a part of a dog's life as meals and walks. Try to train at least once a day and enrichment once a day. Boundary Door Game Series Part 4. Once you're confident with the proofing, you can then move on to the final phase. Utilize a bed or a blanket to create distance from the door. From the doorway, when they make eye contact, click and treat. Throw the treats to them so they don't leave their boundary and set them up for success.
Girl.
When you're finished, come in and go to them to fuss them and release them.
Yeah, go girl. You go girl.
You can also utilize a treat bomb as a jackpot reward for a higher level of reinforcement. Remember, the more you reinforce, the more you pay for them to want to repeat the behavior you want.
Good boy.
If you're stingy and don't pay, you won't make much progress. Remember, if you're at all uncomfortable or nervous, utilize your long line. Safety always comes first. There's no shame in using a long line. Long lines keep your dog safe, and that makes long lines priceless. Long line do not mean you're not making progress.
My fault.
Don't forget to practice as often as you can.
Oh, come here and give him a fuss.
Huh? He's a good boy and give him a fuss.